I'm here with a legendary tweeter, BlackRedGuard, swing set bomber.
Of course, you'd fucking start with that.
I think it's awesome. What do you mean?
That was actually a very, very horrible time in my
Okay,
horrible time in
but
my
now it's
life. But
awesome. You should be proud of it. That's what decolonization
eh,
looks like.
whatever you say, but
It's true.
whatever you say.
It's
But
true.
yeah,
You engage in political
yeah,
violence, and I appreciate it very much.
I I like alternate between like hating the fact that I went on Dr. Phil and being like, a lot of these people only like began to know who I am because of that.
No, I
So
think way
like
more
it
people know who you are because of the Twitter, and they just found out about that later as like a funny little side thing.
I have people like in DSA in my org that make frequent references to that. And I'm like, hey, can we talk about theory or can we talk about organizing? Can we talk about something besides a bunch of stupid ass white people that I haven't lived around in damn near a decade? But hey,
Well,
that's
I'm
that's
not shitting on you for it. I think it was awesome, but
yeah, nobody shits on me
we
for
can
it.
talk about that stuff. Because
The thing is, people are so fucking mean brained. That's all they want to fucking talk about.
I don't mean it in a mean way at all. I never said it was anything negative. I think it was awesome, and I appreciate you for it. I just wish you still had that energy nowadays.
I'm glad. I'm glad you. I'm glad. I'm
Because
glad you.
nowadays
got me.
I think you're not so much of a red guard. I think you're more of a Secret Service agent.
Oh, for fuck's sake! My real job is guarding Donald Trump.
I don't mean literally. I mean metaphorically, because you're also not a red. You're not literally a red guard either. It's just a handle, you know.
No,
But you know,
a
the
lot of
reason
people
we're
think that
here is to talk about
a
serious
lot of
stuff,
people think
right?
the handle. Yeah, a lot of people think the handle came from Skyrim, but yeah, I made up that name. I made up that name in like literally 5 seconds.
Well, it makes sense. You know, Mao, red guards, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
But you're here to defend the honor of the Democratic Socialists of America, from what I understand.
yeah. She challenged me to a duel, and here I am.
Hmm. So we're here to debate, which like my position, his position. His position is like I don't actually know it, but you know, it's against mine, and mine is what I believe a lot of people have come to the conclusion to more and more, which is that the DSA is sort of just like a glorified endorsement vehicle for the Democratic Party, essentially a faction, or you guys call it a caucus, of the Democratic Party.
Oh,
And
we're
you don't
actually not a
appreciate
cult.
that very much. No, I know you're not
So the
literally a
Democrat.
caucus. I know you're not literally a part
Yeah.
of the organization, but you essentially function as if you were one anyway.
Well, okay. So in DSA, there's like, so you have the dirty break, which is basically like because like pretty much everybody in DSA, with the exception of like a few old people that were probably friends with Michael Harrington, if you know who he is. Pretty much everybody in DSA recognizes that the Democrats are not our friends. But there's a contradiction that's opened up, a contradiction that I consistently point out. Like, if we see the Democrats as the enemy, right? For example, take Zoran. Okay. Everybody was so happy when he was elected. Yes. Then what does he do? A week and a half after he's elected, he wants to keep the fucking Zionist police commissioner. Now he's condemned Palestinian organizers for language that they used. Never mind the god awful atrocity that is AOC. So I understand where a lot of people are coming from. Like, yes, this stuff is unconscionable. Like, we cannot keep doing this shit because, like, for us to say these things amongst ourselves, the Democrats are no good, the Democrats suck, etc. And then consistently run, not just run as Democrats, but like sit down with Kathy Hochul and Tish and Biden and Kamala Harris, who endorsed Zoran, and all these other people. Yeah, that does, like, a normal person would be like, okay, so y'all are full of shit. And I get that. I I 100% agree. Like, we have to break from the Democrats. The
So you
Democrats are
want the
literally,
DSA? So you believe the DSA should be an independent party?
I do believe that DSA should work towards becoming an independent party. Yes,
Okay.
most people believe that way. Believe that.
Hmm.
There was actually a resolution at convention that passed that basically stated that our goal is to build a socialist party in the
What's
United States.
preventing you from doing that? You already have the structure. If there's anyone who could do it like as fast as possible, it would be the DSA. So what's stopping it?
Well, for one, DSA isn't a dictatorship. Like,
That's a problem.
especially, well, yeah, it's a problem for people who haven't organized in an organization with tens of thousands of people before.
It's a
But
problem if you
like,
don't want the organization to reflect the interests of Americans, which isn't a good thing.
well, if you're organizing in the United States, you do have to kind of like take into account what Americans want.
But you also kind of have to take into account what that means for everyone else.
That is very true.
Because,
And
what's the
totalitarianism.
reason, for example, that comparatively to like 50 years ago, Americans do not get quite as angry as they used to about foreign policy?
50 years ago, we had Vietnam going on,
Yeah, and
and
Americans had way more skin in the game in that because they were getting conscripted.
precisely. And I think part of the reason why they ended the draft, of course, if shitty, stupid enough war that eats up enough people comes back, they'll probably reinstate it. But that's like far, far in the future. But yeah, like back then, it was real, as you just said. Like they would literally take you, high school kid, black, white, Latino, whatever, working class high school kid. They would literally take you out of the ghetto, take you out of the trailer park, and they'd be like, okay, your ass is going to Vietnam. It doesn't matter whether or not you want to. A matter of fact, they would take people out of jail. Like if you had done something, I don't know, stolen a car or something, like the judge would literally offer you, okay, you can sign up for the military and go to Vietnam, or you can go to prison for 3 to 10 years.
Okay, but like
And a lot of guys, yeah.
that's a
So
problem that you got
yeah,
to deal with now, right? Like you're organizing in an environment where the interests of Americans have become like less and less aligned with the interests of people who are getting fucked over by America over time.
mhm.
So what I was saying there is like, okay, the DSA is like fully democratic, really democratic to a fault, in my opinion. And what's the result of that going to be when what's going to happen is going to be dictated by basically the votes of whoever the hell happens to join. In my estimation, it's going to mean that it's basically going to reflect like the general sort of sentiment among like the American left slash progressive, in air quotes, sort of people, which is that we sort of put ourselves first and we don't really want to do that much for everyone else.
Yeah, it's national chauvinism. That's definitely what Lenin and even Marx and Engels decried. Like, oh, so like Engels literally called the British working class, he called them a bourgeois proletariat. Like, okay, so you can't just be like, okay, we're getting our free healthcare, our free buses, our free education, so fuck everybody else. And like in the US left, you do get that sentiment. Like you have people that literally cannot even point to Palestine on a map. You have one story that I consistently tell people is that we had a guy, Marcellus Williams, rest in power. He was a like they literally framed this dude, black working class dude, framed for murdering somebody back in the day, and the state executed this man. And I drafted a statement for my DSA chapter, and there was one dude. He's like, who is Marcellus Williams? Like this case made international news. You had people in Iran talking about this. You had people in Germany. You had people in Australia. You had people all over the place. People in China were talking about this case. Like they literally framed this guy and they executed him for no reason. And then, like, you are in the largest socialist organization in the United States. You're running around claiming that you're a socialist. You're going to do this, that, and the other, and you do not know about the like internationally famous case. This would be like not knowing about the Scottsboro boys
Yeah, but I
in the
don't think that
30s.
I don't like when I talk about this problem. I don't even think it's just those people at all. I think a lot of the people with the sort of sentiments that I'm talking about, they are very knowledgeable on not very knowledgeable, much more aware of geopolitics than the average person. It's kind of difficult to be in a socialist organization in the US, especially, and not just by happenstance know what your country is doing more than the average person. And yet they still, when it comes down to it, are very reluctant to sort of do anything that could potentially put anything on the line, even if it's tiny. Like, you have this big organization like the DSA breaking totally from the Democrats. That would be a pretty big risk for them to take, given that, maybe if you're American, if you're just American and all you care about is like getting a half decent mayor in New York City, maybe just endorsing a nice Democrat like Zoran, who isn't that terrible if all you care about is, you live in New York and you want to make the city slightly less shitty. So why would you go beyond that, try to make like a clean break and do something that's actually really difficult, which is winning elections, even like, local elections as a third party in the US, when you have your safe thing already there?
Yeah, and that's a major contradiction. Like, American politics is literally set up to strangle third parties. For example, I'm pretty sure you know who PSL is. Like, their strategy is they don't run as Democrats. They run presidential campaigns. They run gubernatorial campaigns. Of course, we could talk about the validity of that strategy because they never win. But
starting out like at that level is ridiculous as well.
Yeah, like, you cannot capture. Like, my main critique of socialists trying to take these high level positions is, first of all, like, Mamdani is gonna be he's gonna be choked out potentially. Well, fuck, potentially, probably, because he has so many people against him. He has Trump against him. The governor's already trying to sabotage him. The police, they're gonna run him ragged. So, like, my personal electoral strategy would be to, like, focus on getting city council, secure a workable majority on the city council, so that when a socialist does successfully run for mayor, they're not obstructed. Like, they were literally threatening a capital strike. Like, they were literally threatening to turn New York City into fucking Legos because, like, you have a social democrat elected mayor. So America is the world's, like, it was established as a bourgeois country. We don't have a feudal past, a feudal communal, any of that. Like, this country has always been. It was founded on slavery and stolen land, for fuck's sake. So the level of not just conditioning here, but Lenin said that, like, this shit is engendered, like, even under socialism. Like, the seeds of capitalism are engendered day by day, hour by hour. Individualism, like Jefferson and all those asshole slave owners that founded this country, their idea of a proper man, a proper person, was some bourgeois asshole sitting on a farm with slaves around them. So that's the notion of individualism that this country has. And it's so deep rooted. You have people of all races going through trash cans, people that work at fucking Dollar General for slavery wages. They voted for Trump. Why? Because that conditioning. Okay, this guy, I want to be like this.
These are the same
guy.
challenges that every country has. I don't know why Americans think that this is like unique.
Oh, we ain't special. We ain't special at all. This is what I keep telling people that want, like, the thing with Americans, especially American socialists. Like, I'm a communist. Like, but like, people that call themselves socialists tend to be afraid of the term. They're afraid of scaring the normies. But, like, America ain't special, really. Like,
that's why Americans have a ton to learn. Like, even electoral. Like, the main reason I talk about electoral politics on my channel is it's the only thing you're allowed to talk about, or they ban you. So, I mean, I don't think it's totally useless either. Otherwise, I wouldn't talk about it at all. I wouldn't really give a shit. Even just to, like, educate people, it can be potentially useful. But Americans, maybe not you, I'm not accusing you of this, but, like, plenty of people in the DSA, whenever I talk to them, what they always end up sort of arguing is, like, some sort of, like, in the USA, we can't do that. In the USA, there's this special thing that means that we can't do what has worked in other places. Because, I'm sure in many other places, like, they started out, like, basically, as you said, starting out on, like, the absolute, like, lowest possible level of electoral politics and built parties up from there, either beginning from like a split of some other party or from like some independent party that happened to be the one that beat out the rest of the pack to actually do something. So there's plenty of examples for Americans to follow. I feel like Americans don't realize that in this sort of electoral organizing, they have a lot to learn, but they have a lot of excuses. And I feel like the excuses are made for the same reason I said earlier. A lot of people they're happy with the way that things are in like the DSA and the way that the American left in general engages with electoral politics, like just endorsing the best Democrat, basically. And so that's like the American exceptionalist thing. That's the part of it that's harder, is you have tons of people who need to be convinced to act in at least to some degree, not entirely, because obviously these, like, what you're offering them is still going to be better for them, but against their self-interest a little bit. And that's the main barrier.
Yeah, just speaking from my own conditioning, like I was raised, like there basically are no Republicans in my family. Like my upbringing was basically like typical working class black Democrat. And like a lot of us like as a kid, I didn't even know like why it's always Democrats. And my grandma, my mom, and my aunts were like, because Democrats are for blacks. And this goes all the way back to LBJ, who was like, okay, a lot of the reformist legislation that he passed was because like we were literally tearing these shitty slums and ghettos that they put us in like up every year, like year after year of long hot summers. They literally had to deploy the National Guard, who actually shot people. Like they would literally march down the street with bayonets and tanks shooting people. So you had counterinsurgency. Same thing. You had the rise of the Black Panther Party. I was a free lunch and free breakfast kid in school. Those programs were started by the Black Panther Party. But after the feds, in collaboration with various elements within the black community itself, after they succeeded in neutering and squashing the Panthers, which to this day remain the most historically significant socialist organization in this country.
I mean,
in my
certainly,
opinion.
Sorry,
So
I don't really see the relevance to what we're talking about right now. Like I understand.
I'll bring it back to see when I explain
just,
things.
I don't want to be mean to you. I don't want to be mean to you, but you do keep
No, you
going
can't
on
be.
these
You
like
can't
sort of
be.
tangents that I feel aren't
The
super
tangents
relevant to what we're trying to
tangents
talk
have
about
a
here.
purpose. Tangents have a purpose. So, anyways, so you have all of these various counterinsurgency programs, and you have Americans thinking that, okay, if I become a communist or if I break from the narrative that I'm taught Democrats are good, like even a lot of socialists in this country, they see D after somebody's name and they think safe. So that stuff was conditioned and trained and taught to us from birth, especially colonized people. But at the same time, experience is the best teacher. So you have the Ferguson uprising, you have the George Floyd uprising, you have the hood looking the exact same as it does, regardless of whether you have a Republican or a Democrat. Like I guarantee you, the Bronx is going to look the same under Mamdani as it did under Giuliani. So these experiences teach people, working class youth that are coming up in these neighborhoods. They see the promises being broken. I voted for Obama in 2012. What did Obama do? He basically stabbed Ferguson in the back. He got up there. He's like, "Oh, you guys got to behave." So like, people see this shit. People are consistently betrayed, and it's the job of us as socialists. One thing that I'm really, really critical of within DSA is to just like allow people, recruit all these nice, safe white liberals, and allow them to remain as they are. Because when you do that, you change the character of what is supposed to be, what objectively can be a working class revolutionary organization. I don't want any more white liberals in DSA. We already have enough. That's why we keep going through these same stupid.
I mean, I do kind of agree, but I think the problem with that isn't so much that you shouldn't include them, it's that you can't let them have too much influence, which is what you do when you have an overly democratic organization. You need an organization, especially in the US, maybe in other countries, not so much, but it's particularly in the US because, national chauvinism, but like the organization has to have some line that it does uphold. Because what does the DSA uphold officially, aside from people get to vote on whatever the fuck they want? It's in the name
Oh,
socialist,
we have.
okay, but that doesn't mean anything.
If you go to DSA's website, we literally have a whole platform
Yeah,
that
you
you
have a
can read.
platform which is voted on by the people in the organization, right?
Yeah.
Therein lies the problem. You have a platform that represents those random white liberals that you talked about who make up a lot of the
Well,
party.
am I a random white liberal?
No, but I mean, when most of the organization is random white liberals, that's what you're going to get.
What a lot of people don't understand is that DSA has like shifted a lot. Yes, it is still an overwhelmingly right or white, well, white, right, same thing, organization. But you also have people that have been brought you also have people that have been brought into the organization by the Palestinian Solidarity Movement. You have people that have been brought into the organization by its work in the Black Liberation Movement. And my goal is to bring more and more and more of those people in. DSA
To
still
do what
remains
though?
like people
What are they going to
constantly
do?
ask.
What's like the like national overarching strategy here? Because you said it's to form an independent party. Okay, when's that happening? Didn't happen after Bernie Sanders. Didn't happen after AOC turned, which was like immediately. It's not going to happen after
Mhm.
Mamdani. I doubt it. So when's this breaking point going to be? Because from what I'm hearing from you, it's like I'm bringing in all these people. I'm bringing in all these people. What I'm hearing, I'm bringing in all these people to have all their energy, all their anger, all their
Mhm.
rage go straight into the Democratic Party, and then it'll die. Because that's what they've been doing to you for like at least 20 years now, as long as I've been paying attention to this stuff. Probably even before that. I just haven't looked into the history. I'm pretty sure they were doing the same thing back then as well, though. So what I'm seeing here is you're like, okay, I want to turn the DSA into an independent
Mhm.
party. I don't think you're going to be able to do that at all. I think you'd have to split from it to do what you want to do and take as many people as you could. That'd probably be a good solution, honestly. Maybe better than even forming a new party because you get a ton of people going
I'm
with
not.
you.
I have very limited patience for people that enter organizations just to wreck them, though. Like
I
that's
don't
not
feel I don't
that's
think that's
irres-
wrecking at all. Wrecking is something that you do movement wide. If you're doing something that is going to benefit everyone way more than the shitty organization that you're in, then fucking do it.
yeah, I don't know. Just as somebody that like has been involved in DSA organizing. Like I was co-chair of my chapter for probably about 4 months. I attended our national convention this year, met a lot of good comrades who, again, have the same critiques of the organization that I do. I am currently the political education co-chair of my chapter. The next four books we're reading, Rethinking Socialism. After that, we're reading Detroit, I Do Mind Dying, basically an overview of the Revolutionary Union movement, black insurgent union organizers in Detroit in the 70s. And after that, we're reading Settlers, and after that, we're reading Asada's
Okay, so
autobiography.
it's kind of a book club
So,
then.
no, it's not just a book club.
It
You're
sounds like
not
a book club to
listening.
me because you read
That's your
books,
problem.
you read books,
That's your
and then you vote to
problem,
endorse
Bet.
Democratic Party
Stop. Let
candidates.
me finish. Let me finish. That's your problem. You spend more of your time yapping. Do you even organize? Like I'm here trying to educate you and educate your viewers. You're like, yeah.
Let's say I sit
That
at home
sounds
all
like a
day. I
book.
sit at home all day
Stop.
wanking to anime. What I'm saying is equally valid. What I would be saying is equally
But
valid, regardless of if it was being said by like the Superman
these
of
things,
organizing.
these things serve a purpose though, because you cannot, like you're always talking about. Basically, you're trying to get me. Like, let's say I did
I'm not trying to get
entertain,
you on
which I'm not.
anything. I mean, what's the point of reading all these books if the end result of that is we endorse a Democrat or not every now and again?
Do you know who Cory Bush is?
Senator for the Democratic Party now?
Jesus Christ. Congressperson.
Whatever, same shit.
Cory Bush, let me tell you this. Cory Bush is beloved of my city of St. Louis. She is like the polar opposite of AOC. This woman literally slept in her car. Okay? She slept in her car. Now she's a registered nurse. She like everywhere that Cory is needed, she's there. APAC hated her so much they literally paid somebody named Wesley Bell, a literal fucking prosecutor, millions of dollars to take her seat away from her. And during that time, a tornado literally destroyed half my city in May. This fucker did not show up. Corey was out there. Congressperson or not, she loves her city. And for that reason, DSA endorsed her. These are
Okay.
the types of people like your mistake. Your mistake, I think, is
She's
that
still in the Democratic Party.
you
All that energy from
yes, because if she
this
wasn't,
lovely,
yes, because
genuine lady
yes, because
whose
let
intentions
me
I don't
finish.
doubt at all. It's going straight into the
Let me
Democratic
look,
Party.
bro. Would I look, bro? Would I? Okay. Say I brought you on my stream for a discussion about Argentine or Australian politics. Would I consistently interrupt you,
We're
despite
here
me never
debate.
having been to
It's a
either?
debate, right? Like it's yeah. I'm
Yes, but
interrupting
in a
you, but you've
debate,
made your point.
you let your person finish. I would not bring you on my stream for a
Well,
debate
then we're
about
going to be here for
Argentine
20
or
minutes.
Australian politics. Okay, let me finish. I
Go
get
on.
what you're saying. I get your critiques. But Mao also said no investigation, no right to speak. You didn't even know who Cori Bush is or what position she held.
So
But
what?
he,
You
I,
don't need to. You don't need to
she's
know
a
like
member of the,
specifically. It was my
she's a
mistake.
member
It
of the
was my
Democratic
mistake for
Party.
thinking the DSA could ever win a senatorial race. Sorry.
Anyways, so your position, I think, your problem is that you have a very black and white, undialectical conception of things.
Could you tell me what dialectical means?
Yes, dialectical means taking into account all aspects of a situation.
What
You see
aspect am I
DSA,
missing?
you're missing the fact that American politics is organized. See, you're from a country where you have a parliament. You got assholes like Drew Pavlo who could probably get a fucking seat in your parliament. Whereas in the United States, like I already mentioned, PSL, like third parties are strangled at basically all levels.
Do you think
Now
this doesn't happen in other
there
countries?
is
I'm not even talking about
I know it happens.
Australia.
I know
Like
it
the
happens in
only
other
level in
countries.
the US
But
where it's meaningfully different to other countries is the presidential level, the electoral college. Every other level is very similar.
but at the same time, there are like at the local level, there's a shift towards nonpartisan
It always
elections.
comes down to like this America is different
For
argument.
example, yeah, because America is different, bro.
It's not. It's not.
Every
It's easier,
every
if
country
anything, because you don't have an American embassy.
every country is different. Every country is different. Every country has its own specific characteristics. Anyways, so in local politics in the United States, there is a shift towards nonpartisan elections. So, for example, in St. Louis City, you don't have to like even be a Democrat or a Republican or a whatever. That offers DSA, I think, an opportunity to start moving away from the Democrat ballot line. Because I agree with you. We should not be working with the Democrats at all. They're a party with blood on our hands, and I'm tired of this shit spattering on us. So my idea would be to run as DSA, as a system oppositional, basically a party in local elections like that. Fuck trying to be senator, president. Like they're not going to let if we elected a real socialist president of the United States, they would be murdered before they were inaugurated. Everybody knows that. And like you said again, socialism means things. Socialism is what? The dictatorship of the proletariat. Nowhere in this world, George Jackson said, like he literally said, he predicted what would happen to Allende. He thought that he could basically be nice, make nice. Pinochet was literally one of Allende's generals. He swore an oath to this man and turned around and murdered him.
Okay, I think we're very
And
far
she's
off
not,
that though. Like, I want to go back to what you were talking about with like starting in St. Louis. Like, I understand, right? You have the right idea
Mhm,
of like starting on a local level. But for one, I think the DSA is already much bigger than that. You could do more.
mhm.
And for two, like, why do you think St. Louis specifically would be such a great place to start? Because you said in St. Louis you don't have to run as Democrat or Republican. Like, why is that?
Yeah, because okay, so nonpartisan. You're already familiar with the two party binary in the United States, Democrat
Hmm.
or Republican. That's what most people see that think their only choices are. Okay, so we now have basically nonpartisan elections. So on the ballot, all you have is the person's name. There is no D or R associated. You get what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah.
So for example, yeah, so for example, if this was at the federal level, Cori Bush would just run as Cori Bush and DSA. So I think that moving away from that type of thing, I believe Portland is organized the same way. They have nonpartisan elections. And I think, especially in cities like Chicago and New York, where you still have remnants of machines, um, it's doubly difficult. Like Zoran literally had to run as a Democrat because otherwise he would have stood no chance in hell of getting elected. So it would have basically just been a protest candidacy, like PSL.
Maybe, but you run a Democrat. What happens anyway? He ends up not being your guy. So you can run and lose like 5 times in a row, trying to build up something, either maybe on a lower local level than the mayor to start or something like that. Like I don't know why everyone's always like we have to win now, and if we don't win now, then it's pointless. So we have to vote for the Democrats because that same logic is why you never build anything else because you always have to vote for the Democrat.
Yeah. Again, Democrats are fucked. I want to break from them. Like I've already said that many, many times. I don't want us having anything to do with the Democratic Party. Like there's really no like continued like some people in DSA like they want jobs as Democrats. Again, it's an extremely diverse organization. You have literal Maoists and you have literal sock dems. You have people who want to be Michael Harrington reincarnated. That's part of the beauty of the organization. It's a very diverse organization.
There's
I
a
would
lot of
much
similar
rather.
organizations to that, with like Big Ten organizations that are extremely successful, though.
Yeah, I would literally choose DSA over some sterile Trotskyist or Maoist like cult, basically, because that's what most of these organizations end up being. Like people keep asking, "Oh, why don't you start your? Why don't you go join?" Like these things are basically cults. They have no impact on the lives of the masses whatsoever.
Okay, so in Argentina, there's a coalition of 4 Trotskyist parties. They have 12, I believe, legislators nationally, 6 in the Congress equivalent. They are hugely organized. They have a couple 100,000 members. If they want, they can
Ooh.
shut down Buenos Aires pretty much whenever they want. So, I mean, I think you guys have a lot to
And these
learn
are
from. I think you guys
from
have a lot to
Trots.
learn. Yes, from Trots. I mean,
Holy shit!
I seriously doubt people in the organization even know who Trotsky was, most of them, but they have gotten them organized to some degree. So, I mean, Malai and these people, as you want, there are some Trots who are doing a lot better than you in a country where I would argue it's a lot more difficult for them to do what they're doing as well, because unfortunately, Argentina has a U.S. embassy.
Well, maybe you can go there and get a hamburger sometime.
I mean, no, I'd be arrested if I tried to go to an American embassy, but I mean,
Why would you be arrested if you go to an American embassy?
let's just say that they ask my friends how they know me when they go through TSA.
Oh dear. Well, that's where yapping on the internet gets you, buddy.
Yeah, it gets me more like it makes me more of a person of interest to your intelligence agencies than joining the DSA does. That's a problem. I want that to change.
Yeah, I could say that either makes you very based or very stupid.
So you want the DSA to not be a threat to power, because right now, from my estimation, the DSA is better at like funneling energy into the Democratic Party and also sort of closing the space to make sure that no one tries to do anything else than COINTELPRO was.
You keep saying the same stuff. You're like a broken record, buddy.
I mean, yeah, I'm a broken record because you're not really arguing against it. Like, you're saying, like, okay, I think we need to break from the Democratic Party, but the DSA is not doing that. You can vote for it all you want. You're not doing it. What does it matter if you voted for that as part of your national platform? It's like, maybe sometime in the future we're going to do it. When's that?
Well, you have the right to believe whatever you want, Bad Empanada. I really doubt that I'm going to change your mind
I'm just
at all.
I mean, you don't have to change my mind. People watch this and you can change their mind, or you can get people in the DSA even who might watch this on board with your outlook for it. It doesn't have to just be me.
A lot of people are on board with it, but again, I think people outside of the organization, they don't know how the organization works, and they just think that they think that we're a literal caucus of the Democratic Party, which is demonstrably untrue.
I mean, how is
the
it
Democratic Party actually
does,
because the DSA is not an officially registered caucus of the Democratic
I'm well
Party.
aware of that, but
like Democrat sides,
when all that you do is endorse Democrats, what's the difference?
All that we do, look, electoral work is actually like not all that we do.
Yeah,
It's
sorry, you
definitely
also
our
provide
most,
free labor for the Democrats. Forgot about that part.
well, well, because unfortunately many of our electeds are forced to run as Democrats, but we also
Are they
do mutual
forced?
aid
How are they forced?
if they want to win, yes.
What if they
Or we could just
lost and gain some level of profile, right? You got your name on the ballot as a DSA, and you got more people into your organization that way. I'm sure you've read numerous Marxist theorists who pretty much talked about exactly what I'm talking about here. You don't run
Mhm.
specifically to win all the time. You run to build up your organization, to bring people into it, even just to propagandize them. But I think an
There is a
organization
hole in your sleeve.
as big as a DSA, could absolutely win elections. Especially in New York, where you guys have, like, I believe 10,000, 15,000 members. That's an exceptional base to start from to win something.
Wait, how many members? How many members did you say we have?
In New York City, New York State, I believe you have around 10,000, don't you?
Little more than that.
Okay, that's an excellent base to do something outside of the Democratic Party. So why isn't it happening?
Because a lot of those people don't want to. Like you
That's
again,
the
we are a
problem, isn't it?
democratic organization. You can't force people to do things they don't want to do, buddy.
Well, my assessment is that you'd be better off without those people then, wouldn't you?
We
Or
cannot
you
just
should
purge
change those
people
people's
for
fucking minds. Oh, I
we
mean,
cannot purge people
Stalin
for
had a
we cannot
different
purge
idea
people
about
for
that.
political disagreement. That's literally, well, unfortunately Stalin has been dead for almost 90 years.
Yeah, he has. But I mean, the point is, what I'm saying here
And
is that
also you
I'm
cannot just go
diagnosing your
around.
organization as unfit for purpose, unfit for the purpose that you yourself state that you want out of it. Okay, like I completely believe that what you're saying, you mean it, right? Like you think that the DSA needs to break with the Democrats, but I think you have a loyalty to this organization that isn't going to be able to do that ever because of its very nature. So you either split or you make a different party that is less of a joke, than all these independent parties in the US that do nothing but run in elections like at the very top level from the very beginning. One of those two things. If you want if you want to achieve your goals, that's what you need to do, because the DSA quite clearly isn't going to do that. The DSA has watched the candidates they've endorsed betray them, or at least what they claim to want, over and over and over again, and they haven't done anything different. So what's going to change here? How is it going to change? Do you have a plan for that?
Yeah, there's like several revolutionary caucuses. My own is Liberation Caucus, which is notorious for having been called out by Ted Cruz of all people. I guess he didn't flee to Cancun this time. You have Red Star, you have Marxist Unity Group, you have Libertarian Socialist Caucus, you have Springs of Revolution. So, well, Springs of Revolution is basically the old anti-Zionist slate from last convention. So, you have people that are actually contesting for power against the old, I would call, social democratic caucuses. North Star, which is basically a done data, they're not a factor anymore. And you also have Socialist Majority Caucus, and you have Groundwork. That's who we could define as the DSA, right? Those are the types of people that you're talking about that consistently want to continue to keep us attached
Okay,
to
so
the Democratic Party,
why not take
even
those
though
people and leave?
because that would be splitting, and I do not want my organization split.
Even if the
I'm
organization
not
fucking
going to.
sucks?
I don't think the organization fucking sucks. I think it
Okay.
has many, many problems, but it's a very childish and juvenile view of organizing
Is it? Because I
to
think
just take
if you
to
said
just
what you
take
just
your
said,
ball to take your ball and go home
okay,
because people you don't like. This is an
it's not people
organization
you
that
don't
has
like.
almost
It's
one.
this organization represents principles that are fundamentally misaligned with yours in ways that can't be reconciled.
Part of being an adult and part of being an organizer is realizing that you're going to have to work with people that you disagree with. If you take your ball and go home every time a vote doesn't go your way, then you're gonna then you're not gonna get very far
But
in life
the
or
whole
in
problem
politics.
here is that you can't wait. What are are you just going to wait forever until people in this organization suddenly decide to do things that might be fundamentally against their own personal interests? You can't just
I'm not
sit
waiting
there
for anything.
waiting to get them on board and like democratically vote. It's as dumb as waiting to get people on
Mm.
board and democratically elect someone who's not a fucking fascist in the United States of America. So like it just to me it seems like the like not to insult you personally, like you probably will take it personally, but the description that you just made of this organization, if you describe that to like the average like seasoned organizer in like Latin America or whatever other place that has like a mildly successful electoral left, they would laugh at you because you have this organization that has like 500 caucuses in it or however many it is, and on top of that its main activity is it endorses candidates for other parties. You would get fucking laughed out of the room. Like, what kind of a structure is that? You're never going to achieve anything with that. It seems handmade by the fucking
Funny.
FBI.
It's funny you said that because DSA actually does have links with those parties, including Morena in Mexico. Like we have a whole ass
Okay.
international committee whose purpose is exclusively to meet with and build ties
Yeah, I
with
heard what
those.
the Cuban International Committee did recently. Not very nice.
We don't have a. You mean
You have a
the
Cuban
IC
Solidarity
Cuba?
Working Group that
Yeah, and the Cubans actually,
that
came. The Cubans actually, yeah, because yeah, Mamdani literally called Fidel Castro a dictator. That was stupid and dumb.
yeah, and
And the Cubans actually came back and said they understand why he did that, and there was no harm, no foul. Now,
that's very nice of them.
what you're talking about is an individual from a particular caucus who wrote a piece that was critical of the Cuban government. That's what you're talking about. That
No, what I'm talking
yeah.
about is
Yeah.
I know that Mamdani's statement was approved by the Cuban Solidarity Working Group. They said it was.
It wasn't approved. That would have never been approved. What
Well,
happened
multiple
was
people in the organization
what
said that it
happened was
was.
what happened was he said it, and then he started getting flack for it. So he basically went to them and he was like, "Hey, I fucked up." Yes, he should have like had that statement prepared by the Cuba subcommittee because that's their purpose. Again, that's why I'm a supporter of stronger electoral discipline so that we don't have people consistently saying stupid shit like that. And I also am a supporter of I supported the resolution to censure AOC. Unfortunately, it did not come to a vote at convention. But if it did, I would have voted for it and I would have whipped other people to
Can
vote
we go
for
back
it.
to the
Because
Mamdani
again,
point though? Like, you understand
sure.
why he's saying this stuff though, right? It's not for you. It's not for his voters even. It's for the Democrats.
Yeah. But again, like I don't even really like do electoral work. My main focus is on mutual aid and political education.
Like, yeah, I
But
understand DSA has
my
people who do community organizing, but the a
yeah,
big part of why you do community organizing is to bring people into like your broader party structure, and then you use that to do better stuff, which could be electoral organizing. That's a lot of what I'm sure what the DSA does. And when the DSA does that, what happens? Well, they become Democrats.
I'm not a Democrat.
Okay. Okay, so you
My comrades aren't Democrats.
okay,
There
so
are
you're not a
there
Democrat, but
are
you're in an
liberal.
organization that basically just votes for Democrats and endorses Democrats. So what's the
We
difference,
vote
really?
for and endorse DSA members
Who are Democrats?
who are DSA members.
Yeah, and they're also Democrats.
They're also DSA members.
Yeah, I mean we're not in disagreement there. They're both.
Never have I had a person who knows so very little about an organization talk so much about it.
But what have I said that's wrong about
Yeah.
it?
You keep implying that DSA is basically a functionary of the Democratic
Yeah,
Party, which is
yeah,
demonstrably
yeah.
untrue.
That's why it's probably
Yes.
the least infiltrated electoral organization in history in any country. The intelligence services leave you the fuck alone.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if I recall correctly, the president of the United States just literally called us out.
They'll say whatever
There
the
was
fuck they
a
want. I mean, they said like Hassan Piker is evil and shit a couple of months ago. They'll say whatever.
so are you
Hassan Piker's
basically
a
so
DNC consultant.
are you basically implying that because I haven't had my door kicked in and I haven't been dragged off the prison with hundreds of thousands of other black men that I am less of a revolutionary than you or something like that? Is
No,
that
I'm
what
not.
you're
I'm not
implying?
saying anything about you personally. I'm talking about this organization. I said the DSA are like they can just be left alone, and they serve the two-party system, the establishment extremely well. They don't really need to touch them.
Well, again, you
What's
have
your
the right
vetting
to your
process
opinion.
like?
What's our vetting process like?
Yeah.
You want to join? Do you want to join DSA, Bandit Panada?
I'd just like to know about it for comparison's sake.
Do you want to join? I'll tell you all about it.
I
if
just
you
want to know about
promise
the
to
vetting.
join
Yeah,
DSA.
I want to join. Tell me about the vetting process.
You want to join DSA?
Yeah. Tell me about the vetting process.
That's literally, I told you about the website. That's literally a big ass join us
Yeah,
button
but
at
I'm
the top.
asking you. Just tell me, what's the vetting process like? What do you have to do to get in?
If you want to know, you should join DSA.
Yeah, but I'm asking you so that I can
you
have like a discussion
look,
here. We
the
can have
thing,
like an
the
argument.
thing is, yo, the thing is, like, you talk a lot about DSA, but your opinion really doesn't matter all that much because, for one, you live in a foreign country.
Okay.
And for two,
so would you
you're
say
not a
that
DSA member.
the American government policies affects people in other countries more or less than it does Americans?
Bro, you are an Australian expat that does not organize, living in Argentina off US dollars.
Okay, so let me tell you about the process
Oh,
to join.
the process
to join basically any communist party in Argentina or Uruguay.
Are you a
or
member
Brazil
of a communist party in Argentina?
I might be.
Are you a member of any of those
might be.
parties?
You're actually not allowed to say.
No, you're not.
Anyway, so this process is like they meet you in like a neutral place, some random guy you've never seen before, okay? They basically grill the ever-living fuck out of you. And then, like 2 weeks later, someone who is not the person you've met, you'll never see the person again, contacts you, maybe if you're lucky. And they might ask you more further vetting questions and stuff. All of this sort of stuff is done to avoid intelligence agency infiltration. Because in these countries, that's a serious concern because they have American embassies. Now, when I see an organization like yours that, I don't know, you didn't even describe the vetting process to me, and you're trying to tell me that it has like, it's like a threat to power.
Openly hostile to DSA.
It's like,
why would I describe why would I
you,
describe any of the internal processes of DSA to somebody that's openly hostile to our organization? Like, you just literally laid out the entire vetting processes of South American communist parties on
every
YouTube.
single. I mean, I didn't name names or anything. It doesn't matter. But my point here is that I don't think you are at all a threat to the structures of power that you personally and as an individual. I completely. I'm giving you this concession here. Okay, you don't have to get mad at me. You don't have to take this personally. I think you as an individual, absolutely 100% are sincere in what you believe and what you want, right? I 100% believe that, but I believe the organization that you are in does not at all represent the sort of threat that you as an individual might in a different circumstance, which is why the DSA can operate 100% legally as it does with basically zero, from what I've ever seen, like zero proven infiltration into it.
Or maybe we're just too smart to allow ourselves to be infiltrated.
Okay, maybe you are. Maybe if there's 80,000 members, there's no one single FBI informant. Okay.
Oh no, they're definitely
maybe that's the case. But
let's say
you are. There. Let's say you are.
But the thing is to root yourself. The thing is to root yourself in the masses, as opposed to being a tiny, small group that's easy for the feds to infiltrate. Because we have 80,000 people, we have representatives in Congress, we have literally the mayor of the largest fucking city in the United States.
I would say these people aren't at all part of your organization. The Democratic
I mean, you can say whatever you want, buddy. Like, you have the right to speak.
So what means do you have on ensuring that these people uphold the party line?
Why on earth? Why would I tell you that? Oh, you mean you don't
have any power over them. So what happened with Mamdani is he needed you to win the primary, and after that he like hired all these fucking Obama like adjacent like consulting firms and shit. His transition team is made up of people from the previous Democratic mayoral administrations.
Why are you acting like you're telling me stuff that I don't know? I'm literally
so
a
you
member
know
of the
about
organization.
this stuff. So you know that your organization strategy doesn't fucking work. That's the whole reason I'm talking to you about this stuff, right? Is because you say that you want your organization to become like an actual political party.
The strategy of certain caucuses in DSA doesn't work.
Well, this seems like a dominant strategy. Because it's what the party has been. It's what the DSA
certain,
has been doing the entire time that I've been aware of it.
Yeah, the electoral politics, especially in New York. New York City is basically dominated by two caucuses, SMC and Groundwork. Again, who I would, and most people would place firmly on the right wing of DSA. So, and plus they're already claiming Ramdani.
But this is the problem, right? Like, I don't mean to interrupt you, but this is the problem, okay? You have these people in your party whose like strategy, goals are fundamentally different to yours, and you just want to sit there and wait to win a vote.
To mine as an individual?
And wait to your like not you as an individual, like your faction of the party. The people in the party who want to make it into an actual party. You guys just, it seems to me like you're just kind of sitting there and hoping that eventually you win a vote that will be a tipping point where the DSA changes. That's not going to happen.
That's why our goal is to, one, line struggle within the organization, and two, bring in new people who fundamentally agree with our theory of change.
But what if instead you split all these caucuses within the party that want to do something fundamentally different? You split, and then you bring in people who you have, convinced that your party is great and good and that what it wants is just and right, and you recruit those people instead of trying to win votes and favor within this party that is clearly set up in a way to make what you want practically impossible.
Because I already explained to you, I am not a wrecker. I do not have patience.
Well, maybe if the party is set up in a way to make what your political goals are, which I agree with, impossible, wrecking it is good.
I don't think wrecking, and the only time a party should be wrecked is if it's openly fascist. The ACP, I believe,
the DSA should be wrecked because it operates as it's honestly, it's way worse than the ACP for the left in the USA. The DSA operates as dead end, and because it's so large, so visible.
Wait, did you just call the DSA worse than the ACP, which is literally a fascist LaRoucheite, fascist LaRoucheite organization?
Worse is the degree of the effect it has.
A literal LaRoucheite cult that hates trans people and.
The DSA is also worse than the American neo-Nazi party in the way that I'm arguing here, which is that
DSA is worse than Nazis?
Overall. Not in their ideology.
What is wrong with you?
Do you understand what I'm trying to say here? My argument isn't that it's worse.
I understand that you said that the DSA is worse than both the ACP and the American Nazi Party.
The American Nazi Party has 100 members and does nothing. The DSA has 80,000 members,
Nazis,
and it operates, absolutely. You are more detrimental to the left in the US than the neo-Nazi party is. And the reason for that, which is what I was getting to, is that the DSA is this massive visible party or endorsement organization, whatever you want to call it, with 80,000 members. It's so visible. It recruits so many people. They funnel so many people into it that it leaves no space for pretty much anyone who wants to try anything else. And in that respect, the material effect that it has is so much worse than the ACP or any of these other horrible parties, regardless of how shit they are in terms of their ideology and
You think we're bad because we're good at organizing?
I think the reason why you're good at organizing is specifically because you don't really demand anything at all. You don't your party does not want anything that is out of line with the Elizabeth Warren wing of the Democrats.
Bruh. That is patently ludicrous and demonstrably untrue. Have you ever even read our platform?
Okay, so you have a platform, great. You have this epic platform. So how do you get people in to implement that platform? How do you make them stay on your party line when they're in office, when they're all Democrats? You don't. So practically, again, I'm talking about this from a practical standpoint here, where the DSA sucks, the DSA is bad, not because the people in it are bad people, not because there's not genuine intention people in there, nothing like that, but because of the overall effect that it has on American electoral politics, which is essentially endorsing candidates, or perhaps even running candidates who are literally members of your organization, but they're still on the Democratic Party ticket, okay? And the Democratic Party is totally fine with this. They don't mind this at all. The Democratic Party has a wide spectrum of beliefs within it, from
the Democratic Party
or whatever
hates
to
DSA. What are you talking about?
The Democratic Party is fine with DSA type people. Sanders,
no,
AOC,
they are not.
Mandani.
They literally tried to sabotage Zoran's campaign.
The Democratic
Everybody
Party
that we run that actually has a chance of winning the Democrats hate DSA. They literally have tried to sabotage almost every electoral campaign that we've run. They literally stole Cory Bush's seat. What are you talking
This sort
about?
of thing happens all the time in parties that are essentially relatively big tents. Like the DSA now is a big tent in that it's from like right wing to like slightly center left. The DSA, sorry, I meant the Democrats. The Democrats is like, are they like this sort of big tent now where they have adapted supposed progressive positions to be somewhat compatible with their party? Okay, people like AOC, Bernie Sanders, they are very complimentary to the party. Even if parts of the party fucking hate them, they're still very complimentary. They're incredibly adaptable. They're very, very good at taking these sorts of people and making them useful tools for the party as a whole. That's the problem here, right? I mean, I think you get this perfectly fine because you've been arguing for a split. But what I'm saying here is that you have this massive party, 80,000 people strong, hugely visible, you know. If you want to join a party in the US, you don't really know that much. You kind of feel like you're a socialist. You join the DSA. That's bad. That's very bad because what ends up happening is they just endorse Democrats and they become Democrats functionally.
That's your opinion, bro.
It is
And
my
I don't
opinion.
see. Well, you have the right to it, even if it's wrong.
Okay, how's it wrong?
Because it's wrong. Like,
Okay, it's
I'm
just
still
wrong.
a Maoist. I've been in
I
DSA
believe you're
for
still a
2 years.
Maoist.
I'm not a. Well, I'm glad the white man believes I'm a Maoist, but I'm not
arguing
like.
against that.
But like, you again, you have a very undialectical conception of things, and
Okay,
you
so
really don't know all that much about American politics.
what don't
because
I know?
the
What's
Democrats,
the special
Democrats.
American thing that I don't know?
I've already explained it to you, and
Okay,
your
I listened
response
to
is
it
the
and I
Democrat.
argued against.
You're a wing of the Democrat Party. You're a wing of the Democratic Party.
And I've also been
you stop
explaining my
revolutionary
reasoning
energy.
for that, right? So if you wanted to
I'm explaining
refute
my
that,
reason.
you would need to
stop
explain
you
how my
stop
reasoning is
revolutionary
wrong.
energy. Why haven't you firebombed the Walmart yet?
I haven't said anything like that. Everything that I'm talking about is 100% above ground legal.
You literally are acting as if we are some like weak formation because we haven't had our.
I think
entire
you're strong, and I
NPC
think that's the
dragged off
problem.
prison.
You're very strong, and you use that strength to be a functional wing of the Democratic Party. That sucks. That's very bad. Same exact problem that Americans had with Obama. He was extremely good at making people feel like he was a progressive, but he wasn't. The DSA is the same thing.
Yeah. But again, you have the right to your opinion. I'm not going to split my organization. I'm not going to wreck my organization. I'm a DSA patriot, and I will be a DSA patriot until we storm
I think
the
that's
White
a
House.
problem because I think
So-
you should be loyal to your ideology, to your principles, to your beliefs, not to this organization. This
I'm
organization is a vehicle.
I'm also loyal. I'm also loyal to my organization.
Okay, so if the DSA
I'm not
voted to
going
go
to-
like full fucking neoliberal tomorrow, would you leave?
That's not going to happen.
Pretty close.
That's a that is a ridiculous fucking hypothetical.
Why couldn't it happen? It could potentially happen, couldn't it? I mean, it's all about voting whatever the people vote for in the party. It's possible because there's no guiding principles. There's no line.
And there is no caucus in DSA, and there is no individual in
caucuses.
DSA that would vote.
It's actually bad to have lots of tiny little caucuses in a party. That's not good.
Well, DSA isn't a party. If we were a Democratic Centralist Party, yes, that would be
You
very
want to
bad.
make it
But
a party, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Because
But
the
even that
structure-
party
the
would have
structure of,
even
like-
that party. Even the Bolsheviks had internal factions, bro.
Yeah, they did. But what you have is an absurd amount of internal factions. Generally,
That's
an
healthy.
organization with this sort of
Like-
structure would have parties within a coalition, right? They would be parties. They wouldn't be caucuses. But I mean, aside from that, like what we were getting at before that is like, okay, you're a Maoist, but why are you not loyal to those ideals? Why are you loyal to this party and said that it's clearly unfit for the purpose that your ideology, that would be way more fitting with your ideology, rather?
There is no Maoist party in the United States. Every attempt to build
It
one
doesn't
has
have to be a
collapsed.
Maoist party. It doesn't have to be a literal
Mainly
Maoist
because-
party. Like even like
mainly
some,
because most Maoists in the United States are fucking morons, but I'm not going to get into that fucking issue. But like the main reason that DSA I think is a good organization for people to join is because it allows various groups to enter. Like we literally have a Maoist caucus in DSA. So that would not be allowed in PSL. Certainly wouldn't be allowed in
I
CPUSA.
absolutely that's in
So
your opinion that's
I
good.
think
In
the
my opinion, that's
diversity.
terrible because then these people who
Well,
are way more radical than the DSA, they join it, and what do? They vote in the DSA. What's the result of that? All these people who could be building a viable alternative that could potentially, who knows how long down the line, do something, anything at all. Dear God, please do something, Americans.
I don't know.
They go to the
Just from
DSA,
my,
they
just
go to
from
the
my,
DSA and they just fucking
just from
die.
my, just from my experience, no, we certainly ain't dead. As a matter of fact, I would say that, like, I literally led a Maoism one-on-one study group with Long Island DSA a few days ago. We had about 50 people in attendance. So Maoism, I think, is actually carving out a niche for itself in DSA. Are we going to take over the organization tomorrow? Absolutely not. But I think we are definitely gearing up for, like, we've definitely shifted the organization left in our own way.
Well, I'd be very
So
pleasantly
what I say,
surprised if your idea for the DSA in becoming like an actual independent party happens. However, from what you've been saying, it really does not seem like there is any path to this happening that anyone really has planned or like has really thought about at all.
why would I share any plans with a hostile streamer on YouTube at 11:42 in the morning?
Well, because
At 11:40.
it would be incredible propaganda for your party to like alleviate people of these concerns.
Why
that
do
they
you
have
keep
about
calling
it.
DSA? Why do you keep calling DSA a party? We're not a party. We're a mass organization.
Because this is how people generally talk about things like this. Like I have a way of speaking that adapts to circumstances that is not like this absurdly weird circumstance of this organization that just endorses the candidates of another party. So I tend to call organizations parties instead, because this is an electoral party, right, or organization, whatever you want to call it. But it's an absurdly weird one that just endorses candidates for another party. So please excuse me for my language and being too generous with you by calling you a party. I agree, it's not a party, probably never going to be one. So that's sad. But I want to know, do you have like a plan for it to be one? You could just say yes or no. You don't have to give me all your secrets.
I mean, we literally passed a resolution at convention. You could read all of this stuff. I know you like reading. So
it's great.
Like, there's literally a convention compendium. It was,
that's great. So,
I believe, drafted by comrades in Mug.
So when's the like the first?
Why do you keep
DSA
interrupting
candidate?
me? Like, you brought me here to talk about DSA. You don't know shit
it's
about
relevant
DSA.
to what you're saying.
Maybe you should let the DSA member talk, buddy.
When's the first DSA candidate gonna be put up in election? Do you have any plans for that?
What?
Could you give us a soft launch? Plans to run the first candidate on a DSA ticket.
On a DSA ticket?
Mm-hmm.
That's there are many moving parts before that can become an eventuality. That's probably like 2 or 3 conventions down the line, bud.
So that's what is that 3 years down the line?
6.
Oh, okay.
Conventions every 2 years.
Well, that's encouraging. You know, I wonder how many genocides there'll be in between now and then. Who knows? There's no urgency here. It's not a big deal.
I look forward to seeing you in the International Brigade.
Unfortunately, this is the problem, right? There's no urgency because you've created an organization that just lets in any old random American, and the Americans vote. And what they vote for is American things like endorsing Democratic Party candidates. And
Americans vote for American things.
That's the problem. If you want a legitimate party that at least has I'm not saying it has to only be anti-imperialist, but that does uphold a genuinely anti-imperialist line, tries to get somewhere, it's not going to be the fucking DSA. And we don't have time to wait 3 conventions down the line, 2 conventions down the line for the DSA to maybe think about going independent and doing something, anything. We needed you guys to do something about this 30 years ago. Next best time, however, is now. And like, I don't know how long you want us to wait, right? Us, as in the entire rest of the world, we're all waiting for you to do something.
If I were a Stalin type, if I were like a Stalin type leader, all this shit would be done tomorrow. But I've got almost 100,000 other motherfuckers that have a say in this organization as well.
Maybe you should think more like Stalin. Maybe you should say, I'm getting the fuck out of here with all my buddies. Then we're making a party with what, 10,000 people? How many do you think you got? Whatever, that's an excellent start. Because there's urgency here. There's huge urgency here. And it doesn't sound like the DSA has any sense of urgency.
You're not in the room. So
That's the problem,
my advice
isn't
to
it?
you would be,
I'm not in the room. I'm
my
not
advice,
American. That's true. I'm not American. Too
but
fucking
you
bad.
spend most of you
Too
spend it in
fucking
northern, you
bad.
spend it
Yeah, I
in,
talk about the
spend it
USA.
in
You know
northern,
why? The US government affects basically every single other person in the world. In many cases, at least as much as it does Americans. In other cases, a lot more. So fuck yeah, I'm going to talk about the USA incessantly. And I will forever until that situation is no longer the case.
be a lot better if you do something about it. Like, again, I ask, do you even organize?
What
Or
if
do
I
you
what
just
if I
yap
don't?
about
What if
people?
I do nothing? What if I just yap? Let's say I just yap. Is anything I'm saying more or less wrong? Would it be more
I would
valid
say
coming from
yes, because
Superman
it's
of
not.
organizing?
Yes, because Superman of organizing has actual experience and praxis, as opposed to just reading
So,
about
but
reading
if he's
with
saying the
accounts
exact
from
same
people
thing
who.
as me, it's the exact same. It doesn't make a difference who's saying it.
Except nobody who's actually organized in DSA would say the things that you're saying, buddy.
Well, that's because
Like
the
you
DSA
literally,
is an
you are
organization that's a
ten
dead end or
thousand, you
fucking
are ten
Democratic Party
thousand, you
endorsement
are ten
organization. Of course
thousand
they
miles
wouldn't.
to the south, harping and yapping and
I'm
urging
10,000 miles
split.
from the south in a country where there is, like, as shitty as the country is, as much as I hate it, as much as I hate the politics here, as much as I argue with these people, they've done what you say is impossible and did it 40 fucking years ago, right after being massacred, having an entire generation of organizers, 30,000 of them fucking killed by an American-backed dictatorship, and you're here telling me
Well,
why you
bully
can't
for
even run a
them.
fucking candidate for local council in St. Louis. Give me a fucking break.
Actually, explain to you why we could. We actually have two members. We actually
Yeah, in
have
6 years,
people on
you'll
Guatemala.
run someone in fucking St. Louis. We don't have
Bro,
time
we
for
have
that.
DSA.
We don't have time
We
for you
have
to get started in the
DSA
local
members.
council in 6 years. You could do that now.
We have DSA members on our city council, by the way.
That's great, but they're
One of which is
Democrats,
the
aren't
president.
they?
They actually have been in pretty sharp contradiction with the rest of the Democrats.
But are they in the Democratic Party? Do they have the D next to their name?
Right. What does it even fucking matter?
Oh, I'm sorry,
What does
man.
it
I don't
even-
want to make
they're
you mad.
there.
I'm not here to make you mad. The problem
It
is
doesn't even fucking matter. They're there. Would you prefer them to
they're
be held by, like,
Democratic Party members. Come on, dude. We're
would
talking
you
about
prefer them to
independent
be? Would
parties
you prefer
here.
the seats to be held by fucking gentrifiers or Trump
Dude, I'm
supporters or
telling you,
people that
if
want
you
to
describe this to,
Or
like,
would you-
someone like a left organizer in Argentina who is up to the snuff
I
of
don't
what
have
you
to talk to
demand,
left organizers.
do you know what they would say to you?
I have
And they ask you, is this council member who's yours, is he in your part? Is he, like, running on your ticket? Is he accountable to your party? Is he, like, your guy? And you're like, well, technically, kind of, no. They would fucking laugh at you.
I don't have to talk to left organizers in Argentina because I don't live in fucking Argentina.
Isn't
I
that
live
great?
in
You
the
don't have
Belgian
anything to
Sea.
learn from all these other people in other countries who are way more
I don't
successful than you? You don't have anything to learn
don't
from
have-
anyone. You're a special
If they were-
American.
If they were way more successful, then they wouldn't have fucking Javier Milei as president.
Yeah, Javier Milei, he just got paid $50 billion fucking dollars by the president of the USA to keep him in power before a midterm election.
Oh,
The
good.
USA
So
literally
maybe-
bought the election here. That's something that you can do something about over there in the US, but you're not doing shit,
Maybe
are
we should
you?
do and you're not doing anything about it, but sitting down with Yankee dollars yapping about it.
What's
Yapping
happening in
about
Argentina? In
DSA.
Argentina, even the fucking shitty opposition party in Argentina is more radical than anything the DSA has ever endorsed.
Well, good for them. Go endorse them then.
Well, unfortunately, it doesn't fucking matter because Argentina is not a geopolitically important country outside of, like, its own region. So this doesn't matter. You are in the belly of the beast. You can do way more than anyone else can, but you don't.
Okay,
We want you to do more. We're on your team here. We're on the same team here. We want you to
with
do
your
something. The
mountains
DSA is
of
unfit for this
organizing
purpose.
With your mountains of organizing experience, white Australian expat man, tell me what to do. Tell me
You
what to do.
get the
Max.
fuck out of the DSA. Take as many people as you can.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Okay, so you
Something else.
okay.
Something constructive.
Then it's you can't do anything within the DSA. So then okay, nothing.
So you're a
just
doer and a
nothing.
nihilist. So you've
I'm
basically done
I'm a
no-
DSA denialist. I deny that the DSA can be used for good.
Well, that's unfortunate. But I'm not going to wreck my own organization because I don't roll that way.
It sounds like you're
Anything-
now more loyal to your organization than you are to your own beliefs.
Of course, I'm loyal to my organization. Why would I not be loyal to my organization?
Because
You think I
it is
just
fundamentally
go from-
not in line with the beliefs that you claim to uphold.
I disagree. I think that it can be made to be.
Well, okay, we're in disagreement there, and I don't think we're going to convince one another. But I don't know. Perhaps people can judge how this went one way or the other. Though, I mean, I'm here to like talk to you about this because I want you guys to do something, right? I'm not here to shit on you. I'm not here to scold you.
You want me to openly conspire to wreck my party and
Absolutely,
induce
fuck
people to
yes,
leave.
because you guys could be doing
I'm
way
not
more.
going to do that, man.
You anti-imperialists in the USA, you have so much power to do stuff, even electorally, although you don't realize it.
Yes.
You could do a lot.
And the largest socialist organization in this country is a valuable tool that can be used towards that end, and that should not
It
be
is indeed
destroyed
a
or
valuable
split
tool,
apart.
but you have to, direct it to that end first, which is what we've been talking about here. And I do not think you're going to be able to do that.
Well, that's unfortunate. But my bit of advice to you is just trust the process and trust those of us in the organization that are actually trying to make it a better
unfortunately,
place.
we don't have time for that, and we just saw what happened over the last 2 years as a result of this sort of, just sit back, relax, trust the process sort of mentality. Because, you decades upon decades upon decades of entryism hasn't gotten us anywhere, has it? Hasn't gotten you anywhere. Especially what's like one big policy that you would say the DSA had a hand in? Like a big bill that was passed or something to do something significant that the DSA influenced on even like a state level. Have you done anything for yourselves even?
We did just get one of our people elected mayor of the...
Yeah, and now he's a Democrat.
He was a Democrat. He was a Democrat when he was in the state assembly, bro. Like, I'm not denying that.
And now he's more of a
Democrat.
Now he's tied to fight agency like this DNC consulting firm, Fetterman guys. His transition team is a bunch of former staffers of like Cuomo, fucking Bill de Blasio, these people.
Again,
they've captured him. He's their guy now. Yeah, I know you know all this. That's the problem, right? Like, you got someone elected. That's all well and good. But the point of getting someone elected isn't just to win. It's not just to say you've won. It's to have them implement your principles, your policies. He's not going to do that, unfortunately. He might give you like
give you a couple of
free grocery stores or whatever.
That is why I've been yes, and that would be a material good for the people of New York, would it not?
I'm sure subsidized grocery stores would be good for the people of New York.
I've always been meaning to ask you this. Like, do you actually think that like the majority of Americans, black, white, whatever, should like die or something just because of virtue of where we're born? I've always been meaning to ask you that.
I'd rather not answer that question than say no because it's funnier. But what the thing is, right?
You definitely have a gift for sound bites.
They want. Like, I think the Democrats are fine with letting Mamdani open a couple of subsidized grocery stores and give you guys free bus rides. Ultimately, they probably will try to block it. But I think if that's what it would take for them to like get people complacent, they'd do that. They do this sort of thing all the time. They're happy with that sort of thing.
Yeah. So, do you have any other questions for me?
I mean, this is an exchange of ideas, right? Like, I'm not adversarial to you at all. I want you Americans who care about the rest of the world to go beyond your self-interest a teeny tiny bit. I'm not asking you to literally discard all of the local politics. Like, I want you guys to do something that's more effective, more viable, with more potential than what you're doing now. That's all. I don't want you to fail. I don't want you to be sad. I don't want you to go starving. Just every now and again, I might. But I think you can be doing way more. And I think you guys should be like asking yourselves deeply, like, why aren't we doing more? And is what we're doing is, this idea that you have, like, gradually, maybe in a couple of years, start running candidates on the DSA ticket. Maybe this isn't urgent enough. Maybe it's not good enough. Maybe it's not fit for purpose. I think you guys should think more about that. That's all. I don't want you to fail, because if you fail, then I think it'd be worse for the rest of the world.
Well, I will say this. I definitely give a shit about the rest of the world.
I don't doubt that you do, but I think you're too much of a party guy now. You weren't like this 5 years ago. 5 years ago, you would have bought a baby. Not anymore.
That's the one thing I hate about you. Like, I can tolerate
It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a compliment.
I can tolerate your habitual. Hey, BRG is a sellout. The DSA wants to eat.
I don't think you're
Palestinian
personally
children.
a sellout. I think you're a member of an organization that has made you into something that you didn't
But
ever envision yourself becoming.
You actually making a whole ass video, and now every time I talk about Abimel Guzman, I have to hear he boiled babies.
I didn't say he boiled babies. I said they threw scalding water on babies, which did happen.
Oh, yeah, they
and
did.
I believe they did. Yeah.
Yeah, they did do that.
The boiled baby thing is very funny though, and it's not that far off from what they actually did.
Who came up with that shit?
People say it's like a CIA op or something, but I've never seen anyone say it outside of Twitter.
Now everybody thinks that Maoists just stand around.
I think it's very funny
with the big ass cauldron and just stir and just.
I mean, you yourself once wrote a good article on those guys, which was not very complimentary. So I don't think you really want to defend them anyway.
Well, I defend them to an extent, but massacres and carnage, I obviously do not defend. If you're killing the people you're supposed to be helping to liberate, you're kind of
I mean, that's that problem with them is that's a whole lot of what they did was that.
Yeah, that is true. But
imagine if this group that came close to overthrowing the Peruvian government at one point, imagine how much stronger they would have been if they didn't just murder like all of their potential base.
Yeah, definitely agree. Of all the Maoist, of all of the Maoist organizations that have existed in history, the Shining Path would probably be my least favorite, just because of the dogmatism, like Jefe Tura. It was basically a theorization of a cult of personality, which Mao himself opposed, and yeah, just generally I've learned a lot more from the Filipinos, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any problem with the other Maoists, and I find it weird how, like, the Filipinos, and I don't know if it's the same with the Naxalites in India as well, but the Filipinos definitely kind of sort of like the Peruvian Shining Path guys, which I find weird because they don't seem similar to me at all.
Yeah, I think it was well, there was a Maoist International, actually. It was called Revolutionary Internationalist Movement. The CPP actually was not a member of that. It was the RCP in the United States, the Avakian people, they were actually a member. But the Filipinos really were not
alive.
Who? Bob Avakian?
Is he? I don't even know.
I think he died many years ago, and they've just got
he's like a million years old. No, he's alive. Holy shit, he's 82.
Yeah, he's alive. Or he died many years ago.
I mean, if he died, probably no one would notice anyway.
Yeah, nobody would care. He actually did a thing with Cornel West a few years ago, and he was salty because they came to hear Cornel West. They didn't come to hear this old fucking withered up white cult of personality renegade Maoist talk about why he's the shit. And when you meet Avakianites in the wild, they're just so, for one, they're all unanimously 60 or 70 years old. And they're just, they're just brainwashed. And don't join a cult.
I prefer what I think you want to do, as in your principles, you're willing to work within the electoral system and all this, it's fine, it's good. It's what I think people should do as well. Don't discard any possible outlet you have, even if it looks hopeless at times. I just think the DSA is not it, and I just wonder how long it will take until people like you, who I absolutely believe you're well-meaning. I just hope you realize that sooner rather than later, because the longer you wait, the worse it's gonna get.
Well, I'm a big boy, Empanada. If the contradictions within DSA turn antagonistic, which I highly doubt they will, then I will make the right choice. But I am not again, I think that the collapse or wrecking or splitting of DSA would be a pretty bad thing for the American socialist movement for a myriad of reasons. But I do get what you're saying.
What if the split went well and they started winning local elections? Wouldn't that be worth it?
That's a hypothetical that's not going to happen because DSA is not going to split.
But
At
what if
least
it did?
not.
Like, imagine it did, if you can allow that possibility.
I'm not going to engage in hypotheticals about the destruction of
Okay.
my
Okay,
organization,
so
man.
let's imagine hypothetically, magically out of thin air, this party just forms and it has like 10,000 people in it. And so, for some reason, the DSA gets minus 10,000 people. Who knows why? I don't know what happened there. Well, magical. And this party of 10,000 people started like running local council candidates, and they started winning a couple of elections in a few places. And they started like trying to build chapters elsewhere to do the same. Would you join that organization, or would you stay in the DSA?
It would depend on a myriad of factors. But as for right now, DSA is my political home and I'm dedicated to it.
Okay, honestly, it sounds to me like you've become more loyal to a party or an organization. Sorry, I don't want to use the wrong word again. Than you are to what you actually.
Why would I
believe.
dedicate hours of time a week to an organization that I'm not loyal to?
Well, because you're trying to build something, a better world, which is your primary goal.
Yes.
And the organization is merely a vessel for that. It's not the actual thing that you're literally bound to. Parties, organizations come and go.
Eventually, Mao said that eventually all things will outlive their usefulness. I just don't think that time has come for DSA yet. That's why I'm here.
Well, okay. Well, we can agree to disagree on that. I guess I hope this conversation is useful for some people.
Yeah.
In some way.
Your live stream says live stream offline.
Ah, shit.
was-
I'm still recording. I'm gonna upload this afterwards as soon as it gets up.
That was actually less
I actually
chaotic
didn't.
than
I
thought it was.
didn't end the stream, by the way. It just disconnected because of my connection or some shit.
Yeah.
But I will up.
Yeah.
I mean, we can just end it here because we're just gonna disagree. But
Yeah.
I'll
was actually-
upload this, and if you want to link it to people or whatever.
Man, that was actually not as bad as I thought it would be.
Okay. I
believe
do
this is the
think
first time
you are becoming the black Secret Service agent, and you should check yourself because
Do you even know what the Secret Service does, bro?
I'm just black FBI agent.
Do you even know what bro?
I'm just trying to think of something that's kind of like a RedGuard, but not really, but for capitalism.
You're trying to think of something that makes me punch you in the face.
Well, you're not here. You can't punch me in the face, so I can say whatever I want. That's how I operate.
Planes are cheap, bluff.
Okay, come down to Argentina, and we can get you some meetings with some organizers, and you can take some knowledge back to the USA.
Aren't Argentines like incredibly racist? Like, why are there no black people down there?
There's
Why are there no
black
black
people,
people?
but there's brown people. There's not that many black people because Argentina didn't have that many slaves. It did have some slaves, but not that many, and there was no segregation.
I thought didn't they kill them all off in a war or something?
No, never happened. It was just
I
there was
thought there
no
was like a war with-
segregation, and the Italians fucked the black people, and the black people fucked the Italians, and there was no migration from Africa. So there was like 20,000-ish black people, but there was like millions of new white immigrants. So you're just not as visible anymore.
Wait. So so the black people in Argentina are really Italians.
No, I mean like there's no like discernible black people anymore. The black people in Argentina are all from Senegal now, like recent migrants from Senegal.
So there was no blanqueamiento, nothing like that, nothing like happened in Brazil.
I think that happened
It's
in
fascinating.
Brazil and Mexico, but they didn't really need to do it in Argentina because there wasn't anywhere near as many black people.
Somebody just said that I don't watch a video, bro. I don't watch. I've got other shit to do besides just watch motherfuckers talk on the internet. Like I make it a point not to watch white content creators. All the people I watch are black.
You should make a point of not watching any content creators, in my opinion. But like
No, you're like me.
the summary of what I'm saying is like Argentina, like let's say like half the people in Argentina are brown, but without maybe they have like 1% African ancestry from the initial like black Argentines like 150 years ago. It's not that big of a deal. There's black people in Argentina, but they are from like Haiti and Senegal and such.
Wait, what did you just Haiti?
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
It's just,
We say Haiti, but
I mean,
okay.
Haiti. I actually don't. I don't know. I don't even know how to pronounce this, man. Haiti. That's how you would say it.
Haiti, Haiti. I thought it was Haiti, but
But like, yeah,
whatever.
like if you're black in Argentina, like an American black man in Argentina, people will probably think you're a celebrity. That's the sort of racism you'll get against you.
Well, I kind of am.
They just don't know why. Yeah, they'd probably think you're like an actor or something.
So
People want to take
they be
pictures with
following me
you.
around. They be following me around. Dr. Phil, Dr. Phil. I'm like,
I bet they all know
then
about it. I'll tell them about it before you get
then I,
here. But you
Dr.
guys
Phil,
have a lot to
Dr.
learn.
Phil.
That's my main problem with Americans, okay?
Everybody has a
Okay.
lot to learn.
Well, Americans think they are like the leaders of like the international like left movement, but you're not. Maybe at one point in the past, 50 years ago, you are, or at least parts of the organization that you had were. Nowadays, no. Nowadays, no. You guys have a lot more to learn than you do to teach others, but you don't act like it. If there's one thing I'd like you to think about, it's that.
Oh yeah, Americans are arrogant as fuck. Yes, that is not up for
Because every
debate.
single discussion that I have with Americans about American electoral politics, like what we had here, it always comes down to something like
Well, for one
we're
bad
exceptional, we're
empanada, you're
different, everything's different. We can't do
Well, for one
what
bad
works anywhere
empanada,
else here.
I think a lot of your conversations with Americans tend to go south because you seem to have the impression that we are all like horrible imperialists that want the entire global south to die. So if you come
I
at
think
people with bad faith, they're
I mean,
probably
there's
not going to
plenty
like
of.
you
I
all that much.
operate under the assumption that Americans like they don't like what they see in like Palestine and stuff. They hate it. They want it to stop. But ultimately, it conflicts with it conflicts with being lazy. It conflicts with putting in effort. Because if you have a limited amount of effort that you can put in, you don't want to put in more than that. Why wouldn't you put in to get like a mayor elected to give you free buses? Why would you bother on the Palestine issue that much? Why would you push it that much, even if it enrages you? So ultimately, I think that Americans aren't evil, but the material interest of Americans nowadays is unfortunately in a place where most of them are going to have to be fought against rather than with. However, those of you who aren't that sort of American, I still think you can do a lot, and you should be working to do a lot.
Huh. Yeah, that's some surprisingly reasonable. Why is your chat calling me spiritually Israeli?
I don't
You
fucking know.
you have the most toxic fan base. Of
I
like,
usually don't even let them talk. I just let them talk. The reason I have my chat turned on here is because I didn't want to be accused of like censoring people who were criticizing us or something during the debate, or me during the debate.
it seems like that a bunch of them are your stands, and they're calling me spiritually.
My chat is
spiritually
completely
Israeli.
unmoderated. I don't have a single moderator because usually I just don't let them talk. So
That's fucking yeah. I see why people are fucking insane. They make you look like a
I don't
paragon
give a
of
shit. I don't have a
reasonability.
community. I don't have a community. I want people. They can give me money. Aside from that, I want them gone.
Alternate
yeah, I
between
mean,
like loving you and hating you.
that's fine. I mean, I don't care if you hate me as long as you think about what I'm saying.
I actually don't hate nobody.
As long as it's like, as long as you don't take it seriously when I say that Americans should starve. The ACP took that seriously. I'm surprised you did it as well.
Yeah.
The ACP was really angry at me. Like I posted the other day saying like we should start supporting Taiwanese independence as a joke, obviously because it's a UN vote, and they got really angry at that. Like 40 quote tweets. All of them got so pissed. Those people
are.
That's why like I used to think Infrared Has was a really good comedian because he's so funny, but now I realize he's not. He doesn't mean to be at all.
He is. That dude has. He needs to lay off the fucking Captagon.
The what?
The Captagon.
Should I Google what that means?
It's basically like Middle Eastern meth.
Oh, okay. He's on drugs. Maybe he is. I don't know. I've seen people on drugs, Ethan Klein. I don't know. It seems different to me.
Ethan Klein is a fucking cokehead. That's what he's. Well, he has Tourette's or some type of other neurological disorder. All that. Yeah, he's
You're
a
allowed to
cokehead.
be ableist
But
against Ethan Klein. It's an exception.
you're funny, man. This is the first conversation that we've had in person, and I actually do not regret it.
Okay, I just hope you did your organization justice here, because people that I know that get in trouble for this.
What are they gonna do? Give me a spanking?
No, it's like I had someone cancel a podcast with me because he was worried about what his organization would think about talking to me.
Bro. Nah, DSA is fine. They have.
Maybe that's a problem.
NPC.
Maybe it should be more disciplined. Maybe you should become the Stalin of the DSA.
I don't want to become the Stalin of the DSA.
Yeah, you'll say that now, but I know that deep down now you're thinking about it. You're going to go away from this conversation. You're going to think about making a change. You're going to think about being better.
Yes, an Australian talked me into becoming the fucking purge machine of DSA.
Absolutely. What an Australian he was.
Nah. And I imagine you want me to bring you up here to head up the
No, you don't have to
NKVD.
say anything. You don't have to say, I don't care. I don't care who does it. I just want it to be done.
Yeah. I will strive to make the Australian man from the internet happy.
I think you'd be making the entire world happy, not just me.
Yeah. You know, why did I used to think you were from New Zealand?
I don't know.
No,
But I
somebody said
mean,
that.
it's like 3 a.m. here, so I do kind of have to go. But I'm happy to have spoken to you. I hope you're not angry anymore. Thank you for
Why would I
coming
be
on.
angry?
Thank you for.
I'm never angry.
This is the first time someone has debated me in like a year and a half because everyone's so afraid. I challenge literally every random person in my comments to a debate because I just want to talk about these shit.
Why would I be afraid of you of all people?
I don't know. You tell me.
I'm not bro.
Because you're not the one who's afraid of me. These other people are.
The day I fear a skinny white Australian YouTube streamer is the day I die.
Well, I'm glad I didn't put that fear into you then, so that you're alive. But
I fear no man walking this earth.
The viewer can judge this conversation. Okay, I'm gonna upload this pretty much immediately. I just have to render it, and because there was unfortunately disconnection, so I can't just upload the VOD because that fucks up the VOD. So I will just re-upload this immediately, and the viewers can judge. Okay. I'll let that be, because we didn't come to any sort of agreement. I think our stated goals are aligned, but the methods are a bit different, and we'll see what people think. So thank you very much for coming on. It was a good conversation.
No problem. If you're in the United States, join DSA. Maybe start a ban empanada caucus.
In my opinion, don't. But I mean, we can agree to disagree. Aww. Thank you for coming.
Anyway, thanks for having me, bud.
No problem. See ya.
Bye-bye.